Hey there, Bruins fans. Steve Layman here, along with Athletic Director Scott Corley. Time for the spring edition of Corley Quarterly, presented by First Bank. Scott, Final Four tipping off this weekend in Houston. How's your bracket look? Did you have any of these teams in the final?
I would not have had any of these teams had I done a bracket. I mean, it's obviously a unique year. It's an exciting year. You know, three universities for the first time going to the Final Four, so hopefully three fan bases that are really, really excited about the opportunity. And it reiterates what makes March Madness so special, that, you know, really anybody can get there if you're playing well and if you got the right components on your team to get there. And, you know, to me, it's been a lot of good basketball too. Really a lot of compelling games, so it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully the Final Four will live up to its usual excitement.
It feels to me like there's sort of two coexisting narratives around the Final Four. And one is that there's more parity in college basketball than ever. And two is it is really beneficial in this era of NIL and the transfer portal if you can keep a core of your team together for multiple years and have that experience. So I spin this to Belmont in your programs now. So much success, but we're now dealing with all of those issues as well. What's the biggest challenge to capitalizing on both of those things and taking advantage of the parity that's out there?
Well, I mean, roster management's just tougher in this day and age, you know, with the ability to transfer without sitting out a year, and, you know, to be able to hold on to kids for, you know, 3, 4, 5 years now is going to be, in some ways, could potentially be the exception instead of the rule. So, you know, all we can do is control what we can control, and that's make sure we're bringing in great kids that fit our program on both the men's and women's side, give them the best experience that they can have. And, you know, I think our success in the winning tradition in our program will hopefully continue to win out over the day, where athletes want to be a part of it.
Well, in year one in the Valley, it's hard to complain about the results. Bart in the women's program win a regular season championship. They get to the conference tournament final as well. And then Casey's team predicted 6 preseason. That had never happened since Belmont had been in a conference in Division I basketball. And you finished 3rd. You had a really, really good season. You had to be pleased with the way both teams acquitted themselves.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. I mean, it was really fun to see how the teams both stepped up as the conference went, you know, as the season went along. Certainly Bart, with his difficult non-conference, I think got his team weathered and ready to get into the Missouri Valley and to go 17-3 and share the first place regular season championship was great. Likewise on the men's side, you know, you bring in a lot of new faces. We didn't know what to expect. I thought Casey and his staff did a really, really good job bringing that team together, helping people understand their roles, defining their roles, working on the rotations, et cetera, that had us playing our best basketball. And again, it's like anything in tournament, you know, one and done kind of tournament format. We run into an Indiana State team that couldn't miss from 3. And, you know, I was really proud in that game that we had a chance to win that game. Yeah. Despite the opponent making 16 threes.
And as we spin it forward now, Scott, you mentioned last year, so many new faces, 9 new players on the men's team. Bart had a little bit more consistency year to year, but some key transfers in there. And now you do it all over again. I know people out there kind of cringing as they look at the transfer portal here and there. What's the expectation now as you move into the summer and next year?
Well, first off, you know, thanks to the seniors who gave, you know, particularly on the men's side, Ben Shepard, Derek Saban, Michael Shanks, E.J. Bellinger, and Drew Freiberg, of course, the transfer coming in. Just thank them for their contributions to our program, and they're going to be hard to replace. I mean, Ben Shepard, we all know about Ben, and the roles the other guys played in the locker room and otherwise. You know, thank them for that. You know, a few others have gone into the portal, and while we hate that, and you know, for different reasons, it's, you know, it's like anything in life, and to me in the business world or whether in department, when someone leaves, it gives you an opportunity to get better, and that's got to be the approach. And I know Coach Alexander and his staff are working extremely hard on finding those transfers that want to come and be a part of something that's very special here at Belmont. And you know, some of it's challenging. It's speed dating. It's trying to figure out what you need, who you need, and what their fit is. But I'm confident we'll continue to get really good players to come in here like we got this past year with Keyshawn Davidson and Drew Freiberg. And, you know, for Bart on his side, not as much. turnover, losing a couple seniors in Nikki Baird and Sydney Harvey, and we've got a couple players in the portal. But again, he's going to be, scouring the transfers and see what's available. And he's building and has built such a great thing here like Casey has. Why wouldn't people that are really good players want to be a part of this?
If you're a prospective college basketball player, I can't imagine a better place to come and continue your education and have a chance to play for a really, really good team. As we get set now into the spring season, baseball and softball already into Missouri Valley. Gosh, where does the time go? They're already playing conference games, and the Valley has long been known as a baseball conference, softball conference as well. How do you like the way those teams are stacking up early on?
I really like the way they're playing right now. Good opening weekend for baseball. Softball sitting 3-3, but just took 2 out of 3 with Southern Illinois, who's a really perennial, high-level softball program. Laura Matthews has done a great job with her pitching. She's got pitching depth, which in softball is crucial, and her bats are starting to heat up, and hopefully at the right time. And Dave Jarvis, Mr. Steady, just continues to put a team out there that's going to compete day in and day out. Really good pitching staff, and he's got some players. We'll see. I mean, it's early. We haven't really traveled yet for the most part, and so we're gonna have some bumps along the way. But I really like both programs. The leadership of both programs and the culture of both programs.
In terms of track, they've already competed in the Missouri Valley Championships with the indoor season, now into the outdoor season. What's your expectation there?
Yeah, I mean, indoor for us is always a little bit of a challenge because we've got a really good throws program and there's only so much you can do on the indoor. So excited about the outdoor. I know both teams are working really hard. They're setting a lot of PRs, which in that line of sport, that's a lot of the measurement is, are you hitting your personal records and things like that. So it's tough. The Valley, like every other sport, is really good and really deep in track and field. But I know they're optimistic, and I'm confident they'll perform very, very well.
Feels like golf weather outside today. The golf team playing well so far this spring, and it seems like on the women's side in particular, you've got some stars there.
No doubt. Olivia Jordan's done a really good job building a great team, and there's high expectations with that program, and Delia Gibbs is leading the way with her play and just steady performance, and just got the Missouri Valley Scholar Athlete of the Month, so she's, like a lot of our student athletes, getting it done in the classroom as well. And just Cameron Fish is a solid leader, fifth-year player. And then Scott Flynn, what he does on our men's side, he's, again, another steady leader, really a great developer of players, and they always get better under his leadership. And so he's got the talent. They've been a little inconsistent, he would tell you. But the thing with golf, just make sure you're playing your best golf with the when it comes tournament time, championship time.
We're about a Marco Illich serve away from the tennis courts here. A lot of expectations for the men's team. New coach on the women's side, and different conferences. The men are the one that aren't in the Valley; they're in the Horizon. How do you balance what those two teams can do this spring?
Mauricio, he's loaded again. He's got a really good squad. They just had a great weekend where. They took 2, and one was Tennessee Tech, which has typically been the perennial competitor for championships in the previous league we were in. So, once again, high expectations there. They've had some national rankings as a team in the top 75. So he's continues to get it done. And then on the women's side, Danae Voister has just been a great addition to have a full-time women's coach. She's really putting in the time and effort to get that program better. She's got a lot of good pieces to work with. They're coming off a good start to conference play, so I'm really encouraged.
Of course, when you come to Belmont to be a student athlete and compete, there's much more than just what goes on the courts or on the field or on the track. And you had a group of student athletes go to Costa Rica recently for a mission trip. So many of those are part of the experience here, but that one had to be extra special.
Yeah, it's what makes your experience at Belmont, I think, unique, something that we can offer as a Christ-centered university. where we do want the spiritual formation to be part of their experience if that's what they want to do as a student athlete here. And under the leadership of Ryan Nices, who oversees our sports ministry efforts, he has just done an amazing job bringing student athletes together to take these types of mission trips. He works, with these organizations and partners with them. This was with Young Life. And to take 17 student athletes, that's probably the largest number of student athletes we've taken when it's not a team. And so, I always love hearing the experience of our student athletes on those trips, how they have bonding relationships with players and teams that they wouldn't normally interact with, and they become friends for life. And so it's really unique, it's special. And when I, talk to a lot of student athletes, when they come back 5-10 years from now, the ones that have been on these mission trips, they say it's one of the most impactful experiences they've had in their life.
So many great stories have come from those trips over the year, and such a great impact, a Battle of the Bruins, where your student athletes get out in the community. It benefits Special Olympics in particular. There's got to be some great stories from that as well.
I love this. This is driven by our student athletes, and it's driven by our Student Athlete Advisory Committee called SAC. In the way they've embraced the Special Olympic cause and the Special Olympians that come out and participate in these Battle of the Bruins is so heartwarming to see. And our student athletes pour into them, and it's, obviously you're trying to raise money, but it's also trying to interact with these Special Olympians. And they've changed the format over the years, and it's a dodgeball kind of setting. So there's a lot of fun that goes on, and it's just a wonderful time of fellowship while also helping a great cause.
And one other thing we should alert people to, I saw this documentary when it came out just a few weeks ago, The Shoulders We Stand On, of course, is really the story of Belmont Betty Wiseman, and the women's basketball program here. And obviously a lot of Belmont fans out there know Betty Wiseman, know her personally and what she means to this university, but to see it on the big screen, if you will, was really cool.
It was so well done too, Steve, and it's very emotional. I mean, it brings tears to your eyes to see how much Betty Wiseman has meant to this university, first and foremost, and then the athletic department, and the lasting legacy that she has over all of us. And to hear that story, like you said, played out on in a documentary format, it really hopefully touched everyone who's had a chance to watch it. And if you haven't watched it, I would highly encourage you, because it really speaks to the heart and soul of what we are about here at Belmont.
Yeah, The Shoulders We Stand On, highly recommend it, and you'll be glad you watched it for sure. Scott, always good to catch up with you.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll talk to you again soon. Lots to be excited about this spring and into next season in the Missouri Valley Conference. This has been Corley Quarterly, presented by First Bank.